every boss in Amphoreus. We're going to attempt to defeat them using only this fella on screen. Well, along with his trusty companion. Let me introduce you. This is M.E.M, the Trailblazer's cute and cuddly. Oh, you just want to squish those cheeks. Yes, who's a good M.E.M? Together, they're going to kill everyone. Allow me to properly introduce blazerdono's new teammate, M.E.M, Mass Efficient Murder. Or as I like to call her, Murder Furball. All of Amphoreus shall fall to our palm-printed tyranny. That is to say, I'm going to clear the entirety of Amphoreus using only Remembrance Trailblazer. And oh boy, do we have a gauntlet to run! We may have spent the whole last episode on the Nikador missions and battle, which you are now seeing a brief recap of, but in this episode, we're gonna pulverize as many Trailblaze missions as we can until we either complete Amphoreus or hit a brick wall. First up is Pollux. For the battles ahead, it will be important that I have good relics. While the game has blessed me with a magnificent pair of 5-star attack percent boots I got from a chest in Penacony, and most of the other stuff is okay for now, the chest piece is an outlier. Relic Recon wrapped up at the time of me recording this footage, but I'd like to see if I can do Amphoreus without those. At least until I catch up to version 3.7 content, which is when Relic Recon happened. Luckily, I got this crit rate chest piece while on my way to battle Pollux. The substats leave everything to be desired, but it's still a crit rate 5-star relic on a set that has a powerful set effect. Sadly, I don't currently have any other worthwhile parts of the set to activate set effects, but still, far better than what I was using. Time to battle Pollux. Alright, they get the first turn.
Just you wait.
That's a lot of concerning damage for the opening attacks.
Come on, I choose you.
Finally, it's my turn to return the hurt. Hold on, let's take a look. I'm sorry, you have what? 90% damage reduction? I only did 6% of its health before dying. Is my challenge over on the first boss of the video? Can Remembrance Trailblazer not win this battle? Well, okay then, preservation it is. Preservation rarely loses, so I guess I just have to accept that. How am I taking damage while I have shields? That's wonderful. So, in addition to 90% damage reduction while in this state, this attack of the boss completely ignores shields and deals fixed damage called atrophy damage equal to 30% of the target's max health. Other attacks also deal atrophy damage, ignoring shields when conditions are met, such as the target having more than 50% health. It's all enough that I'm defeated after my second turn, which is before we even get to think about how to dispel Pollux's damage reduction, granted by their talent, which happens when player characters take over 200% max HP worth of damage. Abundance Trailblazer, where are you? Oh my goodness. This is not a problem. Yeah, normally such hurdles would have me pondering my next step. They'd have me experimenting, going through the long list of relics, planner ornaments, and consumable items in Star Rail in an attempt to find a tenable solution. Turns out, I already found the answer to the Pollux battle. I used it against Nikador last episode to negate their health drain attacks. The Prayer Machine consumable. Whereas against Nikador, there may have been another solution besides using a Prayer Machine. Versus Pollux, it appears to be 100% required. While there are other items that can give small amounts of healing, I don't believe they'd be enough, even combined, to withstand Pollux's onslaught. The solution is Prayer Machine. It heals both the player and enemy 1000 health at the start of each turn for the first 5 turns. With it, breaking through the damage reduction phase of Pollux and surviving its attacks that deal fixed percentages of damage based on max health should be possible, so long as I can wrap up the fight within 6 or 7 turns. After a nice soak in the bath, we'll be ready for battle. Started using bath buffs with Amphoreus. The Rose Bath gives 10% damage boost to ultimate. There's no limit on how many baths one can take. My dude is about to have the driest skin in the universe, so a pre-battle bath will be routine from now on. We open the battle with an ultimate to get M.E.M out. This is important because Pollux's special mechanic requires a percentage-based max HP tally of over 200% to dispel. M.E.M can help me reach that.
We can do anything!
Prayer Machine applies to her as well, therefore there's no need to use skill to keep her health up. It's interesting to sometimes find errors in the good old fandom wiki's numbers. While most of the data on Pollux appears correct, it turns out that the attack To Mourn the Departing, the one that deals 30% of a target's max HP, actually deals around 34.5%. We can see that on full display right now. Were it actually 30% of max HP in damage, the gauge would not jump from 69% to 100%. It would stop at 96%. But because it's 34.5%, it's exactly enough to make the jump to 100%. Though the following attack would make it reach 100% regardless, thought the formula was a neat tidbit to call out. With the damage reduction state dispelled...
I know you're anxious. Shh. Don't be afraid.
No, you should definitely be afraid. M.E.M, it's time for murder. It's onto the very quick Phase 2.
In brief, I will grant you peace.
Prayer Machine runs out 2 turns in, but 2 turns in is also when the boss gets pummeled to death by the lovable Murder Furball.
But there is fury welling up within them. Please.
Thus, Death has died for a second time. Surely we're not gonna get a third boss that's a personification of death in this game, right? Well, we'll kill that one too, if it happens. I do wonder if there was another way to complete this fight. Perhaps with luck and single target attacks only hitting M.E.M, while also hyper-investing in HP percent across all relics, main stats and substats, it could possibly be done. Because I have to admit, Prayer Machine is super powerful. I'd like to not rely on it all the time and only use it when I absolutely see no other way. Though it's not exactly without drawbacks. When in battle against a boss that has linked health with other on-field enemies, said boss will heal for 1,000 times the number of linked enemies, getting upwards of 5,000 health each turn. Speaking of bosses with linked health, our next one has that mechanic. Amphoreus' first weekly boss, Aquila, the Sky Titan. I just love when the game forces story characters into my party. Let me guess, I have to play bodyguard for her, don't I? Or maybe not. Usually, a prompt like this shows up if I need to play bodyguard. The fandom wiki says the battle will end if Hyacinth falls, but truthfully, I didn't test it myself. Perhaps I should have retreated, offered her a lovely purple drink to drop her HP to 1, and resumed the battle. Instead, I simply did my usual. In battles with a character forced into my party that cannot fall, else it's a loss, I made Hyacinth use only basic attack and never activated her ultimate. Aquila took 1 try.
Give us the core flame!
There is another world. Do anything!
Yeah, even the second fight, one try. This is a weekly boss, right? Also, look at this fun little oversight that's surprisingly still in the game, even in version 3.8. The collision for the platform is still here even after it falls. This only happens in the story version of the map. So, the first battle that had 2 phases almost got Hyacinth, but both of these battles were done without using food buffs. Aquila can't be this easy. Let's tackle the Echo of War version. The boss should be stronger and Hyacinth won't be forced into my party. Take a quick bath, use food buffs for max HP plus offense boost, and time for our next victim, Murder Furball. Defeating Aquila hinges on one very important tug of war. This meter here, I have to make sure it's in my favor whenever the boss's ultimate attack is used. Else I'll pretty much lose then and there because it can deal into the thousands of damage. I'm not using Prayer Machine this fight, but even if I were, taking the brunt of such an attack after the 5 turns is up would still result in my loss. Like any tug of war game, there are 2 ways to turn the tide. Method 1, pull the opposition to your side. Hey, you win. Method 2, kill the opposition so there is only your side. Miss Murder Furball prefers the latter, and I'm not about to get in her way, so that's what we're doing. After all, the boss can't fire off its ultimate if it dies, and every time a phase ends, the meter returns to 0 and we skip the ultimate. Though for the second phase, I fell just short of that. Luckily, a break happened and resulted in the same reset. We're on to the third phase. Things were going well, but this use of my ultimate was a huge blunder. Notice how there's only one target? This boss should have many attackable parts. Apparently, the others don't appear until after its opening salvo. Big damage loss on my part. Given you're watching my first attempt, these kind of mistakes are bound to happen. That said, I now have access to a little bit of healing via the battle's unique action. Hopefully, that's enough to cover this mishap. But it's likely gonna be crazy close.
I'm on it. Trust it. We can do anything! Just learn.
Dang, that was really close, Aquila. Unfortunately, my Barbara is always C6.
Fear the sky!
For those curious, Aquila had around 190,000 HP in total across 3 phases, getting a bit concerned with how much the version 4 bosses may have. Boss number 3, the Flame Reaver. Don't worry, I didn't forget about this guy. I figured I'd wait to showcase him when his supposedly more interesting battle takes place. Truth be told, he's a pushover in every iteration. The Flame Reaver goes down without offering much of a challenge.
Do anything! One person alone.
Which brings us to Zandar, a Lygus/Lycurgus, one Kuwabara. Oh, wow. That's a huge health loss for using ultimate. Using ultimate after Lygus inflicts antinomy is off the table as it guarantees a loss. That said, the health loss from this effect cannot deal lethal damage, so using it as a low health last resort could be a potential trump card. Unlike some of the previous bosses, the enemy's Lygus summons are not linked to his health. Damaging them won't hurt him, but we cannot leave them be. These guys get multiple actions per turn thanks to the Storm Ride effect. 300 damage from just one of them. Extrapolate that to the others, and you can see how it'll quickly add up. Maintaining the mobs, avoiding ultimate during antinomy infliction, and of course, dealing enough damage to win are the three conditions that need met. Will boost health using a nutrient bar and ice damage using... Okay, I've used this a few times throughout my Amphoreus playthrough, but this is the first I've stopped to read the description. Cooked using the flesh of monsters that parasitize the ear and nasal cavities of primates. Sounds like 35% ice damage boost to me. Down the hatch. Ultimate right off the bat is necessary. We'll get a weird camera angle because of the game trying to display this tip when the Remembrance Trailblazer art is supposed to pop up. Everything boils down to surviving Lygus's ultimate attack, query, Prime Mover's Outcome, which deals nearly 1600 damage. Said damage will be cut in half as long as M.E.M is around because the attack's damage is distributed across active player characters. There's no chance of ending the fight before this attack happens. I simply must tank it. This is why ultimate at the start to maintain mobs, and the continuous maintaining of them is of utmost importance. To keep them with their Storm Ride ability from spamming hits that'll quickly drop my health below 800. Thankfully, the antinomy effect that costs health if ultimate is used lasts only for one action, which means ultimate can be used immediately after blazerdono acts. Alongside M.E.M's punches, and Lygus giving me tons of energy through his attacks, allows the mobs to be one-shot repeatedly, preventing them from acting, despite their constant resurrection. With 1165 health remaining, the threshold for surviving Lygus's ultimate attack is escaped, and Murder Furball crushes yet another victim beneath her iron paw.
Things must not be multiplied beyond necessity. I do not mind demonstrating this to you personally. Together, we can do anything! Bronzos.
That weird, grinning snake. Who the heck designed this thing? Behold the weirdest, and perhaps even most disturbing, boss design in Honkai Star Rail. What even is this thing? I can't help but think that it came from March 7th's mind, which begs a whole nother question, but I don't want to look at this thing any longer than needed, so let's get it off the screen as quickly as possible. Like the Flame Reaver, it's a boss without any sort of concerning special mechanic. With nothing to work around, it's a good old slugfest until either it or blazerdono falls.
Trust me, we can do anything!
It does have this decapitation attack where you need to select an ally to take damage. That's weird. It won't let me select my meat shield. Or, I mean my friend. It won't let me select M.E.M. I guess I can take this one for her. She's been doing a lot for me, after all. That's a sizable chunk of damage. It could have resulted in an interesting fight, but perhaps you've noticed by now? The weird grinning snake barely has any health. This boss's mechanics match its design, making it the weirdest boss of Amphoreus in all aspects. Its kit has damage reduction effects that are meant to be played around by defeating the mobs it spawns. Yet, the devs completely offset the damage reduction effect by making the boss have far less health than its Amphoreus cohorts. It's been quite the gauntlet. We've gone through 5 bosses, bringing us finally to the last boss of Amphoreus, the planet's second weekly, Irontomb. You'll have to forgive me, but we stop here. Remember how I said at the beginning that we'd keep going until we either complete Amphoreus or hit a brick wall? This is that brick wall. So it's not quite every boss, but give me a break. The final boss of a planet being troublesome? What a shocker. Irontomb will need its own episode because, well, let's just say that I've seen a lot of ridiculous stuff while doing this Trailblazer only challenge, and this may actually be the most ridiculous, most utterly stupid thing yet. But also kinda hilarious. Next time, Irontomb, with only Remembrance Trailblazer. And Cyrene, because gosh dang it, why do I have to keep playing bodyguard for these? Except you, Barbara, I'm okay with playing bodyguard for you. This is Moosashi, and blazerdono, and Murder Furball, signing off. Till next time.